Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on the Grieg Nocturne, Opus 54, number 4, and it's often written Notturno, so Notturno, and it goes like this. And we'll obviously get through the entire piece today. We're going to be going over things like voicing, bringing out that melody over the accompaniment, how we can develop a softer touch. We'll be going over counting and polyrhythms. That's a really important aspect of this piece, making sure that our polyrhythms actually sound correct. We'll be going over sometimes a little bit trickier passages for students. A lot of times I hear students kind of collapse their hands in there, it kind of disintegrates, or especially on places like this. Rather than have a few tips to help us get that better. So we're going to be going over technique and interpretation today. And also rubato, how we can kind of bend that time to make it more beautiful and seductive and pure sounding, so it doesn't just sound robotic. Even if you've got good voicing, that just sounds too straight without any breathing. Before we get into that, I just want to say, if you ever have the chance, definitely visit Grieg's house in Norway. We were over in Europe for the 2015 International Chopin Preliminaries in Warsaw, and we caught some really inexpensive flights over to Norway, and we visited Grieg's house, and it's quite amazing to see where he lived. And he had this beautiful little composing hut right near his house that overlooked the water. Just a magical place. And I always liked Grieg's music. I thought it was very beautiful and simple. But after seeing where he lived and experiencing his country, we took this train, these series of trains and buses all the way from Oslo over to Bergen, and it was one of my favorite experiences of my entire life. And you're going through the fjords on these boats and hearing all the birds and seeing all the little villages. And Grieg got a lot of his material from folk music. So I remember reading on the wall of his house how he went out to this little village and this woman sang for him, and just one of their old folk songs, and then he inserted that into one of his pieces. And on the wall, I don't know the exact quote, you could look this up, I'm sure it's just on Google, readily available. I should have looked it up before I started recording, but it says something like, I never shot for the stars like Beethoven and Bach because these were giants that I couldn't compare myself to. Instead, I was writing for my country of Norway. And I just thought that was so beautiful. He was so nationalistic in what he wrote. He wasn't trying to impress anyone with his compositions, but rather writing from the heart and writing from the soul. And we're certainly going to hear that today in this nocturne. So let's get started. Let's just dig right in. Let's not talk anymore about philosophical stuff here. Let's talk about some of the mechanics to get started. So first thing, cross over with your left hand on here, that C, and then I would take the next one in the left hand. And I like that to be kind of a sigh. So don't be afraid to play out on that A, and then come down. It's nostalgic. It's almost full of regret in somewhat of a joyful way, though. Like, what could have been, but I still enjoyed that moment. Another thing is the pedaling. So, not too loud. That was a little too loud. I don't like a nice clean pedal here. I think and he also ties that, so he doesn't want that I would probably just feather out the pedal, gradually release it until you get to the B flat, and then it's off, and then you do a change. That makes it not too clean. But very connected sounding. So and I've heard in some recordings that people keep hearing this line down, which is nice to be aware of. I don't like it when people bring it out so much though that it's like, wow, it's a chromatic line, cool. And it totally distracts from that beautiful sigh. So still be aware of it, but I wouldn't bring it out too much, okay? Continuing on, change, 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 change. Also here, take a little bit of time. Like you're yearning for something, but then you kind of succumb. Then even less. So this is attention to a resolution, but then he changes the harmony and the color at the end. So I would have that A flat be extremely soft. Sorry. Or you could have it be more. So make sure whatever you do, 5 to 6 has to contrast with 7 and 8. Okay? Now let's go over 2 against 3 polyrhythms. This is very important. So there are a lot of ways to teach polyrhythms. So I've heard people say 2 against 3 polyrhythms. First of all, let's talk about polyrhythms, what that even means. So polyrhythm just means like one value in one hand, so like 2 eighth notes versus 3 eighth notes in the left hand. And it's not going to go together 1, 2, 3. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. Some students do that. And what ends up happening is you end up getting kind of this jagged rhythm. So it's actually going to sound jagged when you do the right polyrhythm. You're going to go 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Some teachers will say not difficult, like that. But I don't like saying words as much as I like saying numbers, because numbers are a bit more mathematical and they can help you get it a little more exact. Basically what we're doing, and I don't want to get too mathematical here because we're talking about beautiful music, but we're taking the lowest common denominator between 2 and 3. Okay, so what do they both divide into? They both divide into 6. Okay, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So basically what we're going to do is we're in 9/8 time. By the way, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's how we're counting it. We're counting for eighth notes. So we're saying 1, 2, 3. So if we were just to play the left hand in bar 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That works great for the left hand, but as soon as you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's kind of hard to know where that comes in. But if you count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and what you just did, you turned the first 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, into 1 and 2 and 3 and. There's the 6. There's the number that we're going to be able to divide into. Now, that might all sound super confusing. If you're lost, just listen to this part. This is going to make sense now. So what we're going to do, if you take 6 mini counts, 1 and 2 and 3 and, we're just counting for 16th notes at this point. What is 6 divided by 2? So that's 3. So your right hand only has 2 notes. So it's going to get 3 of those mini counts. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, again, 1 and 2 and 3 and. We're dividing for 2 notes. Okay, so each note gets 3 of those little mini counts. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And if you want to just count to three different times, or you can count all the way to 9. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 1. Okay, left hand. This is easy. We're dividing 3 counts, or 6 miniature counts by 3. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. So those are our 6 counts. And we got to divide 6 by 3. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it's pretty basic. If you go through and you write that in, you will see that this is what you come out with. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, or if you want to count all the way to 9, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 1. Okay? I would absolutely recommend that you count that way to start off with, but as you get going, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 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 3. Another way to do it is just go 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. Just clap and count that with me. 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then just play it like that. So it's going to go together. Your first 2 notes are always together. Right hand and left hand, and then whatever hand has more notes, left hand has 3 notes, right hand only has 2 notes. So whatever hand has more, which is the left hand, is always going to come first. So we'll go together, left, right, left, together, right, left, right. Sorry, together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left. So we'll go together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left. Now, when I say together, you might be confused. You're like, hey, that's not coming together. It's actually a tie. So yes, it is coming together. It's just holding through. So together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left. That's what it sounds like without the ties. Now when we put the ties back in, together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left, together, left, right, left. Again, I just like numbers. It just sounds easier. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Let's go ahead and move on because